Hey guys, how's it going? Today I thought I would share some advice to people who are new to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I feel like because we haven't been able to leave our houses for the last few months, everyone has been turning to something to keep themselves entertained, to distract themselves from the outside world, and a lot of people are turning to Animal Crossing, some people for the very first time. And so I thought that I would give you guys some advice on how to get started on your island and things like that. None of this stuff is new information. None of this stuff is going to be revolutionary. I'm pretty sure if you Google searched, you could find out all this information. But I just thought it'd be helpful to have like one video that had a bunch of information in it to help you guys get started and really live your best island life. Okay, so the first few things that I want to tell you guys about are things that you can find on your island every single day. These are things that don't change, and so you should look out for them. So the first thing is the money rock. So when you start on your island, you'll have a bunch of rocks around, and that's what you use to gather resources such as clay and iron nuggets and stones and things like that. But also on your island there will always be one money rock, and that rock doesn't give you any resources for the day, but it does give you money. And we really love the money rock in Animal Crossing because it's been there since the beginning. So yeah, look out for the money rock because it's a really great way to start making some bells. Now I do realize that when you first start on the island, there's some sections of the island that you can't access until you have your pole vault and your ladder, but once you can access all those areas, then you should be able to find your money rock if you haven't already. Then the next thing to go along with that is the glowing spot in the ground. So in case you've been wondering what that glowing spot is, if you dig it up you will get 1,000 bells. But not only do you get money from that spot, if you decide to bury the money again, you can actually get a money tree on your island. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is if you're gonna plant a money tree, you have to make sure that where the glowing spot is, there's not already other trees and things around it that will get in the way of it growing, because like any other tree in Animal Crossing, it needs its own space to grow. So I would just make sure that when you find the glowing spot and you want to make a money tree, that there's space around it. And if you don't want to plant the money tree, you can just put dirt over the hole again and it'll close up, and then the next day a new glowing spot will spawn on your island. So if there's not ideal space for your money tree to grow where the glowing spot is, just wait till the next day and then see where the glowing spot is then. I know that when the money tree grows, you can get different amounts of money from the tree depending on how much you plant into the ground, but it's not always guaranteed that the money you put in will be the amount that grows on the tree. So for example, if you put 1,000 bells into the ground, you'll get 3 bags of 1,000 bells from the tree. And then if you plant 10,000 bells, you might get 10,000 bells back from the tree, but you might not. There's very weird probabilities about that, which I'm not entirely sure about. What I'm saying is if you put 99,000 bells into the ground, I'm not sure you're guaranteed to get 3 bags of 99,000 bells back. So there's that. You got to be aware. But like normally if you put in about 1,000 bells, you'll get that money back and you'll have a money tree. One other thing to note about the money tree is that once you harvest the bells from the tree, no more bells will grow. So basically after you take the bells from that tree, it just reverts to a normal tree, and so you can cut it down. Just in case you're wondering if the money tree grows money back, it does not. It is good for one harvest only. Another thing that you can look out for every single day are fossils. So every day there should be 4 fossils on your island, and if you dig up all 4 of them, then 4 more will respawn the next day. If you fail to dig up all the fossils, so say you only dig up 2 fossils, then the remaining fossils will stay there and then 2 more will spawn. I know that sometimes it's hard to believe there's 4 fossils out there on your island, but once you know what you're looking for, you can usually find them. They're not that difficult to find. But if they are, I recommend checking behind cliffs and things that you can't see, like villager houses. It's really important just to like check everywhere to get the dig spots. But yeah, usually you should find them. And then along with that, another thing that you can find every day on your island are 2 furniture items from shaking trees. Now I know that no one likes to shake trees in Animal Crossing because of the wasps, but if you can get through the wasp stings, you can get through the falling of millions of branches, you can find 2 furniture items every single day by shaking trees on your island. Now these can come from the cedar trees, which are the ones you can find on the higher parts of your island, like above cliffs, or they can be on your regular hardwood trees, which you have on the main ground part of your island. They can fall from either of those, so just be on the lookout for those furniture items. Along with that, not only do wasps, furniture, and branches fall from the trees, you can also sometimes get 100 bells. Now, I think I saw someone on Facebook say that if you want to be efficient about that, you only need like 22 trees on your island. So like the 22 trees will drop all the items that you need. And by that, I mean, if you want to get the furniture items, you want to get the wasps, you want to get all the bells from the trees, you only need 22. I don't know how accurate that is because I don't think I've ever like paid that much attention to shaking trees, but apparently if you want to be efficient about it, you only need 22 non-fruit trees on your island to make it work. So in case you're ever wondering, that's the goal. And then something to go along with that, I do want to say that the tip or trick I have for catching wasps is to always have your net when you're shaking trees, because you never know when one of those wasp nests is going to fall out. And then also, as soon as the nest falls, you just want to swing with your net. So like, say you're on the left side of the tree and the wasp nest falls on the right side of the tree and you like turn to face towards it and you're shocked, literally just try and press A, because 90% of the time you will catch the wasp. Sometimes that doesn't work in your favor. Sometimes you actually shake the tree again and you will end up being caught by the wasps, but that's what I do to catch my wasps. I just like shake a tree, nest falls, and then I swing my net, and then normally I catch them. Some people are really good at timing it, so some people can run away from the wasps, turn back, and then hit them with the net, but my reflexes are not that good, so I just sort of always carry my net when I'm shaking trees to be ready for them wasps. But if you do get stung by wasps and you do have a good relationship with your villagers, if you talk to your villager with a wasp sting, then sometimes they give you medicine. So that's really helpful, because you don't always want to be going around trying to collect resources to make medicine, and you certainly don't want to be spending 400 bells every time you get stung from Nook's Cranny to buy medicine. So best bet is, if you do get stung, please talk to your villagers, because they will surely help you out. Except for some. I feel like there's some personalities where they won't give you medicine, but like 90% of the time, if you talk to someone and you're good friends with them, they will give you medicine. Okay, so moving on, the next thing to talk about are the balloons with presents attached that appear on your island. Everyone's seen them when they're going about their day-to-day business. They're up in the sky. There's a little like wind whooshing sound, so you kind of know when they're going to be going past. And so I wanted to share with you guys some information about the balloons that I found out. So first thing is that balloons basically spawn every like 5 to 10 minutes or so. So basically every like 5 past on the hour, so like 5 past, 10 past, quarter past, 20 past, like those times, there's usually a balloon that will spawn on your island. And also that your balloons can spawn from either side of your island. So basically everyone's island has a different wind pattern, and what I mean by that is that in the daytime the wind will blow one direction, and then at night it will swap and blow in the other direction, and this is going to determine what side of the island that your balloons will spawn on. So for example, on my island, during the day the wind will blow to the left, meaning that my balloons will come from the left side of my island, and then at night the wind will blow to the right, which means the balloons spawn on the right side of my island. So this is helpful if you guys ever want to like be balloon farming and you're like looking for specific things in balloons. This is really helpful to know during the cherry blossom season when you got the cherry blossom recipes from balloons. So yeah, basically if you're ever wanting balloons to spawn and you're curious about them, stand on one side of your island around 5 past or 20 past or like anytime like that, and walk up and down your beach to see if a balloon will spawn, because like 9 times out of 10 the balloons spawn pretty regularly, so that's great. Another thing to be aware of with balloons is that if you see one in the sky and you have to go inside for any reason, so if you like see one above you and you're like, oh, I have to go inside to get my slingshot, and then you come back out and you don't see the balloon anywhere, that's because the balloons with the presents despawn if you go inside. So basically what that means is if you see one in the sky, you have to shoot it down Otherwise, if you go inside, you gotta let it go because it's just disappeared and you're never getting it back. So that's something to be aware of. And now that I'm aware of this, anytime that I know it's coming up to like 5 minutes past, I always like stay outside because I want to see if a balloon spawns. And so yeah, that's basically everything I think you need to know about balloons. They're really helpful in the beginning, I would say, because they drop DIY recipes, they drop furniture, they drop clothing and things like that. But as you progress in the game, I feel like you kind of need them less and less, unless it's like a seasonal opportunity like the cherry blossoms where you need the recipes from the balloons. I feel like then they're useful. But yeah, okay. Moving on, another thing that I want to mention, which is kind of minor, but you guys probably weren't aware, is that everyone has like a native fruit and a sister fruit, and they also have a native flower and like a sister flower. So what I mean by that is when you start on your island, there's one type of fruit tree there. Whatever that fruit is, whether it's apples, oranges, pears, peaches, or cherries, like that is your native fruit. And then later on, you will also find out you have a native flower, which is the flower that grows on the upper parts of your islands on the cliffs. So that's your native flower and that's your native fruit. They're not that special. The only thing that I think is really a big deal when it comes to like your native fruit is that it sells for less on your island. So that's like the only big thing that I think is a big deal when it comes to that. But then on top of that, you also have like your sister fruit and your sister flower. And when you will discover what those are is when you go to mystery islands. So normally when you go on mystery islands, they will have your native flower and they will have your native fruit, which you see all the time and it kind of gets boring. But then sometimes when you go to an island, there will be a different flower and a different fruit tree. So for example, in my town, my native fruit is oranges and my native flower is lilies. But when I go to mystery islands and I get my sister fruit and my sister flower, my sister fruit would be apple trees. So sometimes I'll go to a mystery island and there'll be apple trees. And then my sister flower would be tulips. So sometimes I go to a mystery island and there's tulips. So that's kind of the deal if you're ever confused and you go to a mystery island and you have a different fruit. It is kind of annoying that when you go to mystery islands you can only ever have those two fruits or those two flowers. Like literally every time I go to a mystery island I always have oranges or I always have apples. I never see any other kind of fruit tree except for coconut trees, but they don't count because they're on all mystery islands. And then I always see like lilies or I see tulips, but I never really see any other flowers. So if you ever want to find other flowers, if you ever want to find other fruit, then you gotta go out there and you gotta make friends and you gotta trade, because I think that's the only way that you can get them. Unless you get them from mom. Sometimes your mom will send you a letter with some fruit in it. So those are good to look out for. Always look out for letters from mom. She always has useful things. Sometimes she gives you like flowers, sometimes she gives you fruit, sometimes she gives you other items. But yeah, those are important. Look out for those. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the villagers crafting DIY recipes. I feel like no matter where you are in the game, everyone is always looking for a DIY recipe, whether it's to complete a certain look on your island or if you just want to grab all the DIYs. It's just something that everyone's always looking out for. So first things first is that mostly, no matter when you're playing the game, there should always be one villager crafting a DIY recipe. Now, I don't really know how it works on other people's islands. I'm only going off of my island, but I feel like there's always a villager crafting, starting from 10 a.m. in the morning and then finishing around 9 or 10 at night. So anytime you're playing between 10 in the morning and 10 at night, there should be a villager crafting. And I find that when you find a villager that is crafting, they'll normally craft for like 3 or 4 hours. So yeah. Basically, they'll craft for that period of time, and then once that time is ended, a new villager will start crafting. So that means that you can get like 3 DIY recipes a day just from your village alone, depending on if you want to check when someone's crafting. So for example, in my island, if I go and I play in the morning, I will normally see someone crafting around 10 a.m. And then if I go on later in the day, say around 1 o'clock, I will go and check and someone new will be crafting, and then so on and so forth. So basically what I'm saying is always check if someone's crafting on your island. You will get a DIY, whether it's a new one, whether it's an old one. It is hard to tell, but either way, just know that someone will always be crafting on your island and you should always check it out. And then something to go along with that is that when you go to other people's islands, you should definitely check if someone's crafting on their island as well, because when you go to visit someone else and one of their villagers is crafting, they can also give you a DIY. So anytime you're out visiting someone, go check the island or houses, go see if someone's crafting, because you never know what kind of DIY you could get from them. And then also to go along with that is that you get different DIY recipes from villagers depending on their personality. So basically every personality type in Animal Crossing will craft a different type of recipe. So if you want all the DIY recipes, it's best to have a villager of each personality type on your island. There are 6 personalities in Animal Crossing, and with a quick Google search you can find out what personalities are on your island. I believe that in the beginning of the game, when you start gathering up villagers, the game will try and give you villagers of each personality type. So in the beginning you'll get a jock villager, and you'll get a big sister personality villager, so a male and a female. And then in the next 3 houses that you craft, you will get 3 more personality types. So you'll normally get a lazy villager, a normal villager, and a preppy villager. At least that was how it was for me. And then my campsite villager was a smug type, and then the next villager after that was a cranky. So the game does try, I believe, to give you a variety of villagers with different personality types. It's just up to you later on in the game to actually make sure that you keep every type of personality. Or if you don't want to do that, then you can always check online to see if someone's got their gate open and someone's crafting. I, for one, have opened my gate a few times when a villager's crafting something that I know a lot of people want. For example, if someone's crafting a cutting board on my island, I would open up my gate, and then lots of people can come and get the recipe. So I would say if you're looking for a specific DIY recipe, it's also good to look online, because you never know who's going to give one away. Speaking of looking online for trades and things like that, I do want to say that I think it is important to play Animal Crossing with people. They can help you out a lot when it comes to like trading DIY recipes, looking for furniture, things like that. I know that it's not always possible to play with friends and stuff like that, which is fine, because I was someone who literally always played Animal Crossing alone. I never went online and things like that. I never really had good friends to play Animal Crossing with online until Animal Crossing New Leaf came out. So it is totally fine to still go on and like play the game by yourself, but I do think that if you want to move things on a bit further quicker, it's definitely really helpful to play with friends. Now, that being said, I know it's not an option for everyone, just because I know that with Nintendo Online services for the Nintendo Switch, you do have to pay for it. So if you don't want to pay for it, that's completely fine and understandable. But if you can afford it and you want to, you know, progress in the game and like get help from other people, then it's definitely important to have that online connection. And there's a world of people out there who are willing to help. There's like huge communities growing on Facebook and Twitter and things like that that can help you out when you're looking for certain things, or if you yourself want to get rid of some like DIY recipes and stuff that are building up, you can definitely like post online about that. So I think it's really important to kind of like find your Animal Crossing community where you can like go and help each other out, because without that, I feel like it's really difficult to get things done in the game, especially when it comes to things like turnip prices, because the stock market is a huge part of Animal Crossing. Basically, really quick, just to fill you guys in on the stock market if you've never experienced it. Every Sunday, once Snook's Cranny is built, every Sunday you will have a special character on your island between 5 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Sundays. That will be Dizzy May, and she will sell you turnips at a certain price. And if you buy turnips from her on Sunday, then you can spend the rest of the week going to Timmy and Tommy every single day, asking them what your turnip price is, so that you can sell the turnips you bought at a good price. And it's very much the type of like stock market thing in real life, you know, buy low, sell high. So that's what we do in Animal Crossing, and this has been a huge thing ever since in this Animal Crossing game we found out that your turnip prices can range anything from like 60 bells all the way up to almost 700 bells per turnip. And I don't really want to get into the math of it, but basically if you buy your turnips for like 90 bells and you end up selling them for like 600 bells, you can make a lot of money. So this is a crazy thing, and obviously, you know, if you're just one person on your one island, there's very little chance that you will get a good turnip price. But if you open yourself up to the Animal Crossing community, to the world of Twitter and things like that, you can see people with amazing turnip prices, and they can really help you out. But then on the flip side of that, I just want to warn you guys that there are some people that will try to scam you in the game. It's hard to believe that such a pure game with such a wholesome community can have people that want to scam you, but it is very much possible. So basically, if you're ever on an island and someone wants to trade, but they're not holding up their end of the bargain, or they just take your stuff and try to kick you out of the island, there is a great way to prevent them from getting away with it, and that is to cut off the Wi-Fi communication yourself. So basically what that means is, say you went to someone's island and you wanted to sell turnips there, and they were asking you for a fee to come to your island. It's kind of normal for people to ask for fees if you come to their island, which is fair. I mean, if you want to be a fair trade, you know, they get something, you get something, it's all good. So say, you know, you wanted to sell your turnips on an island and they were asking for some money, and you were like, okay, so you go to their island. So you're like, okay, here's the money, and you drop the money on the ground, and then they pick up the money, but don't let you into their shop. So you're just stuck there, you give them your money, they're not letting you into the shop, they're not holding up their end of the deal. If that happens and they try to keep your money, what you can do really quickly is put your Switch on standby mode, and that will cut the Wi-Fi communication and bring you back to your island. And hopefully, if you do it quick enough before the game can autosave or something else happens, like someone else leaves and the game saves, if you can do that before the game saves, then you can cut the Wi-Fi communication, you can be brought back to your island, and hopefully you will have the money back, you can have the items back. So that'll stop someone from like trying to steal your stuff, basically. Just in case you ever find yourself in the situation where you are going to be scammed. It is annoying if you have to cut the Wi-Fi communication and there were like other people on the island and stuff. It'll send everyone home and end the session completely, but sometimes you have to do that if you don't want to get scammed and you want to keep your stuff. So yeah. Always be aware if you're selling to someone, always be aware if you're trading, because that stuff can happen. So yeah, always be aware when you're trading stuff, always be aware who you're selling to and things like that, because these things can happen, and it actually happened to me recently, and unfortunately I was not quick enough with cutting off the Wi-Fi connection to get my money back, but it was okay. I didn't lose that much in the end anyway, and I ended up selling my turnip somewhere else. So yeah, I guess the thing is that unless you already know that they're a trusted person that you can like trade with, it's always best to be a little bit cautious for the first time. And so yeah, I guess that brings us to the end of this video. If I had any more advice for you guys, it would probably be to Google. There's a world of resources out there when it comes to Animal Crossing. Literally, you can find websites where you can find out what the best things to give to your villagers are. You can find websites that specifically help you trade items. There's so many websites out there that will help. There's even websites to predict your turnip prices if you're really into that as well. So I think I will link some of the resources that I use in the description below if you guys want to check those out. And so yeah, I guess that's everything I wanted to say. I don't really know how useful this video was, but I just felt like I'd make something just to give you guys some advice if you're a beginner. I don't know if you guys already knew this stuff or you didn't, but I just felt like I put my 2 cents out there into the world. I guess if you did find this video useful or helpful at all, you can give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more, and let me know in the comments below any tips or tricks for Animal Crossing that you guys have. At the end of the day, you play this game how you want to. No one's gonna dictate how you should play it best. I just want everyone to live their best Animal Crossing lives. Well, that's all there is to do right now. Well, we can't leave the house. And so yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.